Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So today we got the release of Astral Entity, or should I say the reveal. And so here are the stats. It is the legendary Chaos Death Summoner. As always, what I'm going to do in this video is talk about the summoner as a whole and then go through death and neutral cards that will benefit from this, that will receive a little bit of a boost. What's interesting about this card in particular, I think, is that unlike most other death summoners where everything is very specifically designed to counter your opponent, right? It's to take things away from your opponent. It's to reduce their melee, it's to reduce their archery, it's to reduce their magic, it's to reduce their health. This card isn't entirely that. This card, and probably one of my favorite things about this card, is it allows you to build your own strategies around its abilities, right? It's additive to your deck or your lineup. It does have a negative, obviously, here with the -2 shield, which is amazing. -2 shield is great. I'm very happy about the -2 shield. The dodge is fun. Specifically, you're going to hear me talk about a lot of rule sets, and now we're getting more of them, right? Just rule sets where magic isn't going to be played. So whether that be melee only, maybe super sneak, right? In super sneak, you generally get more, or melee can attack from anywhere. Archery or ranged only, those are all, that's a new rule set. No magic. There's going to be a lot of rule sets in particular where you're pretty confident magic isn't coming, and then this dodge is amazing. And if you don't know dodge, it's going to create a, I believe, 25% miss chance based on, and it's not based on speed. It's like flying, where if you have a flyer with 1 speed and your opponent is attacking you with 5 speed but doesn't have flying or doesn't have snare, you're still going to have a 25% chance to dodge that because of the flying. Dodge works in a similar way. And then Resurrect. Resurrect is awesome. There's going to be a lot of cool little plays you can run with Resurrect. Think about the redemption teams in Death. How great this card is going to be. You put a redemption card up front. Not only, you're also taking away the 2 speed, the 2 shield, right? Which redemptions hit shield. So shields can be, the death, for, pun intended, the death of some of these redemption plays. But you're now eliminating those 2 shields. So, your Slime Ball, which is generally the first monster played in these redemption squads, is in the first position. It gets eliminated. It triggers redemption. It then gets resurrected, eliminated again, triggers redemption again. So you're going to get an additional redemption for those plays. So very, very interesting synergy there. Broadly, I like this card. I'm very happy, I would say, with the power of this, or what this brings to the table. I don't think it's overpowering. To be honest, I don't even think it's that niche. I think it's kind of the opposite. You wouldn't play it in a specific niche situation where magic is expected. But I think pretty broadly, you're going to be able to design lineups around these abilities. So let's get into the specific monsters. I guess first, here. So we're about a little under 120k packs away, and we're burning 25k packs a day. So that means at most, we're talking 5 days until we hit the 13 million threshold. And that's if no one buys a pack. Realistically, we'd have to buy about 20k packs, or I guess we can see it right here. We need to buy, 19,349 packs to push that up a day. But at the most, we're talking 5 days until this is available. And I mean, there could be a delay to when they release it, obviously. So I mean, it's coming within a week, right? Mid next week, we'll have new reward cards most likely, and then we'll also have the new Death Summoner. So, all right, let's talk about the monsters that this helps. But before I get into that, I appreciate everyone here who's watching that video. And if you could just take a quick second to hit that subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. I love making content. It does take me a decent amount of time, so little gentleman's agreement here. If I'm going to keep making content, I'm just going to need you to hit subscribe, and then I work for you. So, I mean, I can't think of a better deal than that. All right, let's get into the monsters. So we're going to go, we're here on peak monsters, death and neutral, per usual. First things first. So, giving something dodge, right? I talked about how this could be weak to magic, because if your monster doesn't have phase, then the dodge is irrelevant. The magic will hit. So first things first, we type in phase here, and we can see we're going to go to modern, and it's all modern cards. So the thing here is Curl Lurker and Chaos Agent both get dodge. Chaos Agent gets it at level 2, Curl Lurker starts with it. These are the two cards, and unfortunately they're both going out at some point when Rift Watchers launches, but for the next period of time, it's these two cards here that are going to benefit a ton from this additional dodge. So, Nightmare gets phase in gold. Now, I used to love this card. I sold this card when I was selling all of my Untamed, including Untamed reward cards. It's shot up in price a little bit with the announcement of the Summoner, and I think it's pretty obvious why. The 7 speed with phase, it's already really, really difficult to hit as is. You're now going to give it dodge. That's nuts. So this is going to become very, very elusive. And I'm going to talk about this card again in a second when I talk about a specific strategy you could run with actually one of the new reward cards that's coming out. But, you know, this card is sick. So, as is, this was one of my favorite cards. I used to play it with Kitty specifically all the time. But now, you know, giving this dodge with the phase is great. And then Cambio, same thing. You know, it already has Magic Reflect, Return Fire, Immunity, Phase. Now you're just going to give it dodge with the 6 speed as well. So these two cards right off the bat I want to call out as, you know, when I say this, you know, this summoner could be weak to magic, you know, these two cards sort of can help alleviate some of that, right? So if you're playing the dodge, if you can include some phase monsters in there, that's going to lower your concern coming up against magic. All right, so let's talk about the other cards more broadly. We're not going to spend a ton of time just because there's a ton of cards, but I'm just going to point out sort of broader specific trends. Anything with flying, right? So we got these three rows right here, or these 3 monsters right here. You know, these aren't the most powerful cards. They're, you know, clearly the cheapest ones here, right? But if you combine flying, which is 25%, dodge, which is 25%, that's 50% mischance regardless of speed. So if you're expecting, actually, before I keep saying that, let me do something real quick. I want to make sure that it is 25% and not 15%. I believe blind is 15% and dodge is 25%. I made a video on this at one point, actually, way back in the day. Maybe I need to refresh it. Yeah, okay, 25%, cool. Where were we? Here we go. So 25% plus flying is 25%. And so if you have a melee monster or a range monster that is attacking one of these guys, anything with flying, you're talking a built-in 50% chance to miss. Now, if that monster has flying, obviously, or it has snare, that's going to change the math. Snare will hit regardless. But flying will take away the flying 25%. But the point is, you can come up with situations now, you're more likely to come up with situations where you could get up to, you know, 90, 100% chances to miss, frankly. You know, specifically if you're bringing speed boost, you bring a blind. There's a lot of cool things you can do, you know, combining dodge with some of these flyers. Again, really any melee monster or any monster that goes up against melee or range is going to benefit. Silent Shavi, taking away the opponent's shield. Riftwing is going to be nice. Same thing with the flying, but this is add in the backfire. And I mean, where is it? Pelacor Deceiver also has backfire, so you increase the miss chance and then do damage when they miss. So those two cards in particular. Taking away shield can help some of the sneak plays. I know this card does have piercing, but hitting that shield still takes up 2 of the attack. So if you can get rid of it, that's great. Speed manipulations, need it. Again, don't want to spend a ton of time. I already talked about the Nightmare and the Cursed Slime Ball. It gets redemption at level 6. But these redemption plays now with the Resurrect are going to be very, very interesting. This card I think could get a little bit of a boost based on it's going to lose its shield, or 2 of its shield, if it goes up against it. But taking away your opponent's shield, you then add in Trample. You're just more likely to eliminate your opponent and trigger a Trample. Is there anything big that I missed here? Nope. Okay, so let's keep it moving. We're not going to go to rare. So the Dhampir Stalker, interesting. It's a card that I'm going to like a little bit, and I often play it in the last position just because in mid-mana matches, it's only 7 mana, does 5 damage, and it can't miss. Right? It has the True Strike. I like to play it in the last position just because it's it has decent speed, 4 speed, decent health, little sneak protector it can eat up, 2-3 attacks, and it's generally not like the core of my strategy. But now if you just, 1, eliminate the shield, so this doesn't have piercing, so that, you're less likely to hit shield if you're taking away 2. Plus, just give it dodge, right? That's going to be a built-in 25% chance to miss this card in the back as it's defending against sneak. So I think this does get a minor little boost. Let's see, this one has redemption. So again, any card with redemption, I think gets a little bit of a boost. Cursed Deku is interesting just because, it's really difficult to get through just because of the heal. And again, specifically talking about melee attacks. And if you give this dodge, the 3 speed's not bad, but it's also bringing a speed manipulation at the highest level. Think about how often this card gets played in melee only or no magic rule sets. And now you're going to give it dodge. So I think it's a good synergy there. Zenith's Monk, actually, kind of a low-key little thing here. It has good magic defense, as is. And it doesn't really have that great of melee defense or range defense, right? I'm sure you've played this card and you've seen it get melted by, 2 or 3 archer shots. It has okay speed, but, it's just susceptible to get melted by the right combination of things. But now you're just going to give it dodge, right? So it becomes a little more resilient. It's already resilient against magic once you get to gold and higher. Now it becomes a little bit more resilient to, the other types of attack. So this is another way. It doesn't have phase, but it can provide some magic relief or magic defense relief to you. Anything with blind. So Technomancer has blind at the highest level. You're going to want to bring blinds. Combining blinds and dodges and flying, only good things can happen. That's about it here. Let's keep it moving. Don't want to spend too much time. Another blind here, the Insidious Warlock. I mean, people really don't like this card just because it has the recharge, but it can do 9 damage, brings a blind. I think it's pretty interesting. Let's see. It's a lot of magic here, which is interesting. Just another flyer. This becomes like a really good, I know this is an older modern card, but this becomes just like a good sneak protector. Flying with dodge, 5 speed. Let's see. Nothing really here. I mean, you're going to want the Grenadier. The Grenadier is getting expensive again. Because expect a lot of flyers with this lineup. Flying and dodge. So if you can get monsters with snare. I think this card, does this also have snare? Yeah, this also has snare. So it can defend against itself. Finally, let's go to legendaries. Speed manipulation, great. Hardclaw is interesting because, again, you're playing this when you're not expecting magic. So now, only has 2 speed, but the dodge is going to be a built-in 25% chance. Plus, you spend all this time getting through all of its health and all of its armor with the shield ability. Plus, it's decreased your melee, and all of a sudden it gets resurrected, right? So it takes even more hits to take this thing down. So I think Hardclaw definitely gets a boost. Talked about speed manipulation. These two, Legionnaire Alver, he's a sick card to resurrect, just because it has so much shield that's voided. This can help relieve your, magic worries when playing this summoner. Same with the Jin Murat, Void Shield. It's a good card to resurrect. Has also Magic Reflect as well, so you can send a little damage back. Again, anything with blind is great. Cthulhu, flying plus dodge, has Last Stand. So, Death has some great reverse speed plays. Same with Raw, slow but flying, so add flying and dodge, built-in 50% chance, even better in reverse speed. These two, kind of the same idea, just huge damage dealers that are going to become more resilient in the back and harder to hit with sneak plays. I'm going to talk about this card in a second. It's like a lineup set. Dark Han, same thing here. So actually, now that I think about it, I forgot this card has redemption. You put this card in the last position, right? And here's your situation. If your opponent brings Sneak, this card gets eliminated, triggers redemption, gets resurrected, then gets eliminated again, and triggers another redemption. So your worst case, most likely, it's going to trigger 2 redemptions, which is good. Good thing. And, right, remember, you're taking away the 2 shield as is, so minus 2 shield, 2 redemptions. That's kind of 4 things off the top, if that monster does have shield. The other situation is they don't bring a sneak, or they don't bring a sneak or an opportunity strategy, and then this card just gets to fire from the back line, 5 damage at the most, a lot of damage here as well, doing blast. And it has the reflection shield, so you don't need to worry about the magic coming back at you. So it's either triggering multiple redemptions, or it's going to be doing a ton of damage. So I think this is a cool card that you could potentially combine, and sort of both outcomes are good. Dark Han, giving this the dodge, already has the taunt, and then it has magic defense, Void and Magic Reflect. So this is a huge card that gets a boost, actually. I really like the Dark Han combined with this new summoner. Ancient Lich has the Resurrect, which I think is very, very cool. So you can now get multiple Resurrect plays. You can actually get 3 Resurrect plays, which is something we're actually going to cover right now. So we'll end this video here back on the Mavs test server to go through the new cards. I'm in rewards. I'm going to do Death, Neutral. Again, I've talked about these cards ad nauseum, so I'm going to make this quick. Our boy, the Wily Kaioshin, the card that I said needed to be nerfed. And how did they nerf it? They got rid of its dodge and gave it a speed. Well, now this summoner brings dodge back. So as I was talking about before, phase monsters getting a big boost. Wily Kaioshin is back. Back. Very excited to use this card. I wonder if it's going to get nerfed again. It's funny. They took away the ability, added a speed, but then you can now just give that ability right back, and it's faster. So it's a nerf that ended up making the card better with the new summoner that they just launched. So that's interesting. Nothing really with the Possessed Puppet. Nothing really here, but again, I would say melee only, right? Or expecting melee. It's going to take you a while to get through this thing with all the shield or the armor. Got the shield ability, got the thorns, and then all of a sudden it gets resurrected. And the thing with resurrect, remember, is the monster gets all of its armor back. It's normally, the downside is it only has 1 health when it gets resurrected. Well, for this one, you basically just recreate the monster, right? It's going to have 8 armor and 1 health. So this gets sort of the full package when it gets resurrected. So it's going to be a really annoying card to have to get through multiple times. Let's move on to rare. So interesting, I talked about this. I was like, maybe -1 melee is coming to the summoner. Nope, didn't get that. They just thought, you know, the -1 melee was too overpowered or something. So yeah, I was wrong. This card kind of gets a little bit of a nerf again. The protect is a big reason why you'd bring this, and you know, now it's just going to be counteracted by the Death Summoner. So yeah, it originally had camouflage, got rid of that, and now you bring out a summoner that directly sort of competes with its ability and doesn't bring as much to the table as it originally did. So here's a crazy little play. The Venari Marks Rat, okay, with the Martyr ability. Put this card in the first position. And then we come back to peak monsters. And what we're going to do is actually, you know what I can do to make the visualization easier? Wrong tab. Let me just bring back the commons and the death. So you put, just kidding. So the Martyr ability basically operates as a bloodlust. Adjacent monsters get +1 to all stats when this monster dies. So put this in the first position. You then put Nightmare in the second position with this new summoner, okay? And the Marks Rat gets eliminated. Martyr ability triggers. This now has 4 damage, 8 speed, 14 health. What do you know? The Marks Rat gets resurrected. Gets eliminated again. 5 damage, 9 speed, 15 health. Okay, I think you know where I'm going with this. We're going to fast forward for a second here. What's that? You bring another resurrect. Marks Rat gets eliminated. 6 damage, 10 speed, 16 health. And why not one more time for good measure? Marks Rat resurrected again. I'm forgetting how to do math here. I think it's 7 damage, 11 speed, and 17 health. You're out of resurrects. This thing then moves into the front with 11 speed, phase, and dodge. It basically becomes impossible to hit. So that's just a cool way you could potentially combine some of these new abilities, right? You can put Martyr in the first position, knowing it's going to get eliminated, resurrect it a bunch of times, build up your summoner, or build up that monster in the second position, and then so by the time that monster moves into the first position, it's going to be an absolute beast. You could do that with the Curse Wind Deku. It's going to get a ton of health, get a ton of speed, have dodge, just going to be able to heal up a ton. There's any number of monsters. I'm going to talk about another potential resurrection play in a second, but the Martyr one is very interesting. All right, let's keep it moving here. The Will-O-Wisp, this card gets way more interesting now for a variety of reasons. So flying plus dodge, we've talked about a million times, plus it brings the blind. So you're talking flying plus dodge, 50%, blind, 15%, right? That's a built-in 65% mischance on any monster that has flying, dodge, and there's a blind. And that's regardless of speed too. So you can add on, if you're faster, you would then add on a little bit to that. So crazy, crazy, crazy combinations here with the Will-O-Wisp. This card gets way better. Plus, again, weaken for the redemption plays. Silence, because we're a little worried about magic with this summoner. So, you know, this can be played now in a variety of contexts with this new summoner. Our boy, Clockwork Aid. Swiftness, again, this kind of here, just speed manipulation. You want to bring speed manipulation if you have dodge. So, you know, minor thing. Back to Legendary to round it out. As we talked about, multiple resurrection plays. Yes, please. Yes, please. I need the multiple resurrection plays. It's so fun with life. You could now get 3 of them, but even without having to go to this older Ancient Lich card, you're going to be able to get 2 of them. Usit with the Resurrection, and now my understanding, I don't know if this is changing along with the other nerfs to Bloodlust, but as it currently stands, a Bloodlusted monster that gets resurrected remains Bloodlusted. Now, I actually haven't tested this in a long time, but I do remember I had Jared Scar. It had Bloodlusted a couple times. It was then eliminated. It was then resurrected and kept its Bloodlust. So that's important to remember. Before I get all into that last strategy to end the video, just here, not really anything, big here. You put this as a sneak defender maybe because it has this, and the dodge will help a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Okay. Let's talk about this strategy. I'm thinking specifically reverse speed too. So you can do it multiple ways. You put this in the first position, right? This, the summoner, right? Then you also bring, what's the new card here? You then bring the Khan or the Han. The Khan Ase in the second position. Again, I'm talking reverse speed here because it has a reflection shield. Then this monster, everyone's doing a bunch of damage. If this gets Bloodlusted, right, it's going to get even more and more powerful. It's going to be healing. And then you're going to be able to resurrect this 3 times. So you can hopefully keep getting Bloodlust. The other option, just to bring this totally home, a really, really fun strategy. So play this in the second position, play this, play this. Then it doesn't really matter. But we're then going to bring back our boy, the Martyr. Okay, so this is in the second position. This is attacking. The Martyr is in the first position. Martyr gets eliminated. Goes up to 4. Goes up to 5. Goes up to 12. Goes up to 2. Resurrected. Eliminated again. Sorry, this goes up to 5, 6, 13, 3. What do you know? Resurrected. Eliminated again. 6. You get the point. All of a sudden now this is doing 6 damage, has way more health. Not to mention, if it also gets a Bloodlust while all of this is sort of going on, it's even going to get more and more powerful. So by the time this then moves into the front position, you could be looking at 7 or 8 magic damage. You could be looking at 15, 16, 17 health, a ton of shield, decent speed with flying and dodge. So you could create some really, really, really sick Resurrect, Martyr combinations. And that's going to be one of the first things I try to do once we get our hands on these new cards. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Here is the Astral Entity. I absolutely love this card. I think it's going to generate some really amazing strategies in the right context. And I'm excited to combine Resurrects. I think there's going to be some really cool things you can do, as I outlined, with some of the new abilities with Resurrect. So I'm going to stop it there. Let me know what you think about the Astral Entity. I'm excited for it. Curious to hear your take. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying the game. I will talk to you soon and see you around.